The TikTok ban, government spying, censored speech monopolies, and of course that brings us to deep state corruption. Now, you may not care about TikTok, you may not care about it one lick, but the bill getting jammed through Congress right now that will soon land on the president's desk also has some hidden caveats in there. It is a Trojan horse. This is why President Trump has come out against this. This is why some of the Freedom Caucus in the House have started to speak out strongly against this, and yet we see both Democrats and Republicans trying to ramrod this right through Congress as fast as they possibly can without actually reading the stinking bill. We're going to talk about what's actually in this bill and how it can give the president unilateral power to shut down any websites that he deems to be unfit. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are stories you will not hear out in the mainstream media. So we have this TikTok divestment bill passing through the House, and it's got the TikTokers all in a frenzy over there, and people talking about self-harm and stuff like that because they love their TikTok so much. That is troubling. That is troubling indeed. Now, first off, this bill, if it gets passed and signed by the president, it will not shut down TikTok immediately. Okay, now, TikTok, the owner of TikTok, ByteDance, I can't help but twitch with the names, ByteDance. Anyway, ByteDance owns TikTok. Now, ByteDance will be forced to sell at least the American side of TikTok, or else then TikTok will get shut down. They are going to go after the Apple Store. They're going to go after the Google Play Store. They're going to go after any website that hosts TikTok. Now, this bill doesn't say TikTok in it. It says foreign-controlled social media, basically. Foreign-controlled websites. That's what it's talking about. Now, it is specifically targeted at TikTok, for sure. But let's just say it gives the president a lot of latitude to determine which websites we're talking about. So we'll get into that a little more. But what it will give ByteDance is 6 months to sell the American side of things to an American company. Donald Trump has already said this may force them to sell it to the likes of Facebook or Google. Now, there's market forces behind this, and this is why I kind of dabbled a little bit in TikTok. It's like, well, maybe I should get into TikTok. Maybe I should throw some shorts up over there. And I finally decided that's not really worth it, because as I was reading the tea leaves, I was there like, they're going to shut down TikTok. This was a year and a half ago. And the reason why I said that was, well, Google owns YouTube, right? And Google and YouTube really don't like TikTok being a competitor. And Google and YouTube have really deep pockets, have a lot of money there. So if you don't think that money is flowing into the pockets of politicians to make them ban TikTok, old people don't like TikTok. So that's, most of the people in Congress are old. So generally speaking, they're going to be against TikTok as it is. Very few of them even know what TikTok is or have watched any videos over there. So they're already naturally going to be against it. But then they have all this money coming in from Google and Facebook and YouTube coming into their pockets like, hey, why don't you get rid of that thing that nobody likes? And everyone's like, yeah, sure, let's get rid of that thing that nobody likes that's owned by the Chinese. You know, it's just like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. It's just politically going to get ramrodded through Congress, and it is. So I kind of saw the handwriting on the wall there. Now it's quite possible that it's going to get sold to American investors, and it's going to come under American regulations and stuff like that. But let's talk about, I haven't hidden my opinion of the thing. I think it's mind-rotting. It's like YouTube, but like without any of the redeeming qualities. It's terrible stuff. It's like scrolling through Facebook mixed with Yeah, I don't know. It just, I tried to understand the platform. I tried to understand it, and all I could really just get is that it's so shallow that you don't actually have to commit to actually watching videos. You don't have to commit to actually learning who people are or understanding what is being said. It's just these little snippets and little memes and stuff. So I'm not a fan of TikTok, but this isn't an anti-TikTok bill. When you get down into it, Representative Massey has taken up charge in the House of speaking out against this. We have Senator Rand Paul is already out ahead of this, denouncing this bill because the way it's written, it's not just TikTok. It's not just a couple of apps named out. It's any website or app that the president and or the Attorney General of the United States decides fits the bill. And that's truly troubling. Let's listen to the wording here. It's foreign adversary, okay? Let's hear what their description of foreign adversary. A person subject to the direction or under the control of a foreign person or entity. Now that sure sounds a lot like something we've been hearing over the last several years, isn't it? About how people being under the influence of foreign governments. That's an accusation that's been thrown around really lightly over the last number of years, but I mean, since it doesn't have any legal, oomph to it, I mean, it's just been a name-calling thing. But this gives it legal teeth. Let's just say they decide, for whatever reason, the Biden administration may determine that President Trump is actually under the influence of Russian President Putin, and decide that because Trump owns Truth Social, that qualifies as a foreign adversary-controlled website and app. And then they go after Truth Social. Or what happens if they determine that some other websites, like news sites, I mean, RT News, right? Russian Today, or whatever it is, stands for Russian whatever news, or Al Jazeera, or some of these other news sources that are, they're adversary-run websites. I mean, you go to, Global Times Today or whatever. It's one of the Chinese state-run newspapers that's online. Now, I'm not saying that you should see those things as anything other than the propaganda arms that they are, but sometimes it's helpful in order to understand the American propaganda to read opposition propaganda to see, if there's other things that have been kind of left out, because the American media has a tendency to just leave things out, like evidence and facts. They either gloss over some of these facts that are inconvenient, or they just kind of don't mention them at all. Now, you can say what you want about TikTok, but the simple fact is there are people on TikTok sharing truth. They are using it as a platform to share information and to get word out on different things. People are trying to use it as informational. Now, as I tried looking at it, I was kind of trying to figure out how that works. The information, the news kind of focused channels, how does that work on TikTok? And I wasn't quite able to figure it out, but I was really focusing in on those channels that are doing similar things like that. And there are people who are trying to use it as a platform to share news and share opinions and perspectives and such. And that right there is the fact that now, whether the algorithm hides them or promotes only ones that are, crazy people in order to undermine American society, that's a whole nother conversation there. But the simple fact is that some of those voices are only heard on TikTok. Some of these influencers and some of these personalities. Now, I'm over here on YouTube, right? But YouTube has some problems too, right? But the fact is, I try to use my voice here on YouTube to get word out on topics and issues and such things that are important, like this topic right now. This bill going through Congress, a whole bunch of Americans would just normally shrug their shoulders and say, I don't like TikTok, I don't use TikTok, I think it's garbage. Great, ban it. It's Chinese owned. Ban it. Yeah, if the bill just said ban TikTok, that would be one thing. But the fact that this gives the president and the attorney general wide powers to shut down any websites that they think meet these standards is really troubling. What happens if they decide yours truly is owned by or influenced by or wording here? Subject to the direction or control of a foreign power. I'm not, but maybe someone accuses me of being that way. I mean, we have all seen how this goes, where people can get accused of all sorts of things. And whether I might be more protected because I'm on the YouTube platform, but what about people's websites? What happens when they go after people like, I'm just pulling one out, Brightian, the Health Ranger and such, naturalnews.com, I think is his website, right? He has some, perspectives that are anti-government kind of perspectives that are, pro-Palestinian perspectives, which I personally don't necessarily agree with. But that's very anti the government's position on that conflict. What happens if the government decides that they think that he is controlled or subject to a foreign power or something like that? That's somebody kind of in our camps, right? Or they go after other people's websites. This is definitely a true, the fact that these powers are being given to the president without oversight, without clear definition of terms beyond just, they're subject to, or they're under the control of. What does that mean? What does that mean they're subject to or under the control of? If they take a little bit of money, does that make them subject to? Are they going to go after Tucker Carlson because he met with the President Putin, who is known for being a hypnotist, And now that Tucker Carlson is under the hypnosis of President Putin, I know it's stupid arguments, right? But have you been listening to what's been coming out of Washington, D.C. recently? Have you heard the charges that have been going up against all the people that went to the protest? Have you heard the charges that they're leveling against Donald Trump? I mean, you read the news and the briefs on these lawsuits that are being filed against him, and it's just like these things are just, they don't make any sense. No logical person, no judge who has ever read the law could possibly be like, this makes sense, this makes legal sense. No, you're like, this is just insane. The only way this could possibly fly is if they put it in front of select hand-picked judges, which is exactly what they have done up to this point, and then they try to make it so that he can't appeal above by forcing him to put like a $500 million bail because they thought he couldn't scrounge up that much money. And they thought, well, this will preclude him from actually appealing the decision. I mean, that's banana republic kind of stuff. We have, tomorrow we have the election in Russia, which is a total sham. I mean, all of Putin's opposition parties and opponents have been literally taken out off the map, right? The people that could potentially rival him in an election have been quietly removed. This is what happens in these third world dictatorships where you say, there isn't any kind of republic, there isn't any kind of democracy. And if you say that there is true democracy or a republic in Russia, you really don't know what you're talking about. It's just absolutely not true. Anyone who actually gets enough of a political following gets charged with trumped up crimes, gets disappeared into a gulag, or has a mysterious death. That is just what happens in Russia and has happened for decades in Russia. I've seen it happen in some of the old Soviet republics in Central Asia. That same stuff happens right there, and it's so obvious. If you just read the papers, you can see exactly what's going on there. Everybody knows it, but what do you do about it? It's always just a little bit enough vagueness that no one can really say 100% sure. It's just, why is there this pattern of everyone who could possibly come up against this person politically just seems to mysteriously get taken off the table one way or another? You look at that and you see the pattern enough that you can tell exactly what's happening. So that's what we're looking at here now in the United States, is that we have Congress is tripping over itself to give more power to the president to ban any media outlet, any app, any website that they determine. What they'll do is they'll come in and they'll shut down your app. They'll shut down your website. And then you have to sue the government to prove that you're innocent. Does anyone have a problem with that? That the government comes and takes away your livelihood, and then you have to sue to prove that you're innocent. That's guilty until proven innocent, which is the antithesis of what we're supposed to have here in the United States. And yet, that's what's in the bill. Well, friends, is this going after foreign people? Nope, it's not. It's going after people in the United States, businesses here in the United States, foreign entities that want to put up their little TikToks up in America don't get punished by this bill. But the Apples, the Google Play stores, the websites that want to host the TikTok app, they're the ones who are going to get hit by the penalties by this bill. It goes after American companies and American individuals. So if you decide that you want to post a link up to downloading TikTok after this bill goes into effect, you're the one who's actually going to get punished. Yep. It's amazing how tariffs and all sorts of things that come into play that are supposed to be anti this country or anti that country always seem to come back and be enforced on Americans, not other people. Welcome to the club. Welcome. Are you cynical yet? Because that's what this bill is all about. It is peak level cynicism with the hope that you'll never actually read the bill. They're hoping that nobody reads the bill, they just pass it on through. And so far, that seems to be working in the House and probably soon the Senate. Friends, this is another power play by the president's office. This is going to give them a lot more power to go after independent media. That's what this bill is about. Let us know what you think down in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.